no reward, no give to get. And you'll find the reapers said this woman was a virtuous woman. And her reputation, Ruth's reputation, went through the whole land because of the way she treated her mother-in-law. But God had a plan. And God has a plan in grace for each one. He got you here. And hey, you're in the right field. And what God would say to you, don't go anywhere else. Just wait. You know, there's a saying that the grass is always greenest on the other side. Well, maybe if she'd gone back in the land of the Moabites where her family was, she'd have been much better off than going and having to work to support Naomi. She wouldn't have had to do that. She could have found a husband. She wouldn't have had responsibility because she had a mother-in-law. She had to look after her. So she stayed. I see many people that make a big mistake because they want everything at once, and grace isn't like that. Just life. If only everything went well. Well, some things don't. That's just the way life is. But can you trust the one who ordered all things well? Who somehow is going to make every single circumstance in your life a blessing, providing your trust and loyalties to him. You know, once Boaz said, don't go to another field, she never went anywhere else. She stayed with the maidens, she ate there, and she found all the provision was there. That's the way it was. And that's the gospel. But there are fools who don't understand his nature. What was it about Ruth? You know, Jesus criticized the Pharisees. If you turn to Luke chapter 20, you'll discover it there. And it says this in verse 46, beware of the scribes which desire to walk in long robes, and love greetings in the markets, and the highest seats in the synagogues, and the chief rooms at feasts, which devour widows' houses, and for a show make long prayers. The same shall receive greater damnation. You almost think that's talking about televangelists. You know, you go to Africa and they want to have all-night prayer meetings. Great show. And Jesus was saying they devour widows' houses. And you'll notice that in Acts of the Apostles, they took the responsibility for widows and orphans into the church. First thing they did with the deacons. They understood that the church was a place of help and life, not a place for enrichment. And you notice that when Ruth came back with all she'd gleaned, she'd set aside the portion for Naomi. Came back, gave it to her mother-in-law. It wasn't a selfish ambition. It was a selfless life. And that's what we're all called to. And when you tell people that today, they only think of themselves. How much can I make? How much can I do? Instead of, what can I give? Just an attitude. It's an interesting story, isn't it? If I could only get people out of their selfish, self-centered ways to realize that the easiest way to get anything is to be a giver. Not that you give to get, but that it becomes your nature. Failure comes because people live so enmeshed in themselves, in their ambition, their ministry, their ideas. Well, I want to tell you, it don't work. What does work is realizing who owns the field.